Hey, so I'm Tim. I work on 13 Remake, and one of the many things that I did was that I got to make these character dioramas that you can unlock by collecting secret statues. And I thought I'll just go through it and talk a bit about the ideas that I had, the inspiration, and what I hope to achieve. Um, so I think it will be fun. I'm probably gonna spoil most of the story, so be warned about that. But hey, yeah, if you wanna go, let's go. So the first one here is of our yeah, pretty much main characters. 13, the guy here on the left, and Jones on the right. These are in civilian clothes. It's called 13 and Jones in civilian. Um, I thought of this as they kind of have this romance going on, so I wanted to portray that. And the game is open for a lot of humor, I think so. So I wanted to go for this fun romantic comedy vibe. So we have like 13 here being careless with the bomb, and Jones with the briefcase that plays a role in the game where we see her like this in a flashback. Yeah, I think it went really well. They have, I hope I got some good looks, facial expression out of it, and I thought it was really good. So here we have 13 and Jones in how you will see them mostly in the game. Jones in her uniform, and 13 in his agent get up with the vest. So a more serious tone here with Jones being all snarky, using a pistol, and 13 being the cool cucumber agent that he is, using a revolver. Yeah, I think that's good too. This one I really like, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. It's 13 and Jones in the Gala outfit. He has a uniform from the last mission, and she's on a dress as we see her on the last level. And I thought I'd put them dancing together, trying to make, some leany looks. And as I mean, 13 is 18, so he's always very cool and confident, but here I wanted to make him a little flustered when he's holding Jones dancing. So he's maybe a bit of a goofy smile, and I put in, let's see if I can find it, so he's actually stepping, you can see that he's actually stepping on her toe. At least that's what I thought actually, yeah. I think, hope you can see it. So that was kind of me trying to build in that he's not exceptionally good and skilled at everything, so he can't dance, but Jones is kind of forgiving him. She doesn't mind this. I really liked how this one turned out. So this one is the Mongoose. He's a hired hitman and more or less the main bad guy in the game. I liked how this pose turned out because this is the exact pose as we did for the concept. Before we even made a 3D model of Rick in the game, we had a concept of him standing pretty much like this. So I'm really happy that I can show that we can stick to the concept, to the face. I put in some extra work to make it look like there's some wind on his jacket, and I really like how he turned out with the texture and the facial expression. We have these two FBI agents doing a cool action pose, I hope. If you're thinking of the cover of, I think it's Bad Boys 2, yeah, I can't remember if I think I started unintentionally, but then as I finished I realized, okay, this was what I had in my mind. I'm trying to show motion, that's why you see the shotgun has like a shell in the middle of the reload. And I wanted to do this, back to back. Because I knew from the beginning that these dioramas you'll be able to rotate. I was trying to do, not only storytelling in a moment, but I would have like things happening or appearing from different angles. so that to the best of my ability, these dioramas wouldn't have boring angles. So that's why these are also facing back to back. And this one really cool for all angles. These are some of the main bad guys, the Mongoose guys, and because of the way that the game works, they are a lot of fun. If you sneak up on them and they don't spot you, they have very fun conversation, very hilarious. So I just leaned into that with this group. As you can see, there's a whole, every angle has someone facing you more or less. So we have like body team here with, I think I called him Biff, with the sniper, and Bill holding the rocket launcher in a very casual way. I'm not sure I remember this guy's name, but so I had him shoot bottles. Then I had Kenny, because he was wearing the red hoodie. He dropped some grenade because he's being hit in the back. But I think I named this one Herman, because he was sort of German looking, I think. Back in the good old 90 movies where terrorists were Germans. And I really like how this turned out. There's a lot of nice chaotic energy. And it's just gonna, with the grenades, things are gonna go bad in just a second, but for now, everything's good. I'm really happy with how this turned on, and this is one of the, if I could like 3D print or make something physical out of it, I would have this on my disc. That would be nice. Here we have Amos. He's the FBI investigator. He's kind of hunts you down because you're being suspected of murdering the president. So he starts off, you have to avoid him. So I wanted to capture that. I got help from the environment artist, and I had to get the trebuchet and this piece of wall made. That's really nice. I tried different things with Amos. If you know about acting and animation, it was of course shy acting, as we say. Props can really help an actor and an animation a lot. So if they don't have another character to lean on, I'll try to incorporate in some props, and it's just nice overall. With Amos, I had I remember 2 that was kind of like in his FBI office. They didn't really work. Like he was sitting at his desk or he was looking at some files. But this one here with when I got the tripod that's used for sniping the president in the beginning of the game and the window part, really helps. We have Amos here investigating the shell, I guess, the bullet from that crime scene. So that's really, really nice. I like this one as well. So here we have General Sheridan, another one of the supportive characters, one of the main good guys. And again, here props, even the smallest things can give a character something to do. And he does have, he mentioned his cigars a lot. So I thought I'll bring that in, and we got the smoke and the lit cigar to work. It's really nice. He's voiced by Adam West, and he does a good job of it, so that was kind of fun, having to animate some of his voice delivery from that. So here, because he's an old military man, I wanted to, the main keyword I got when I was to make this was stoic, and I think I went a bit back and forth, so it ended up with him just standing here, hopefully looking stoic, happy with his cigar. Let it be said, I think villains sometimes are easier to portray or have fun with, and we have Calvin Vax, who was one of the villains here, so I could go really crazy with the facial expression, the overall craziness and out of range. Again, trying to capture a moment, so I had the pistol here having just fired, and he released the magazine, trying to capture a moment of motion. He's with a glass because his plan is very close to succeeding. And I think it ended up pretty well. It's with good facial expression. So in the beginning of the game, William Sheridan is president, but he's running for president. But he gets assassinated. So his brother Wally Sheridan, as we see here, takes over. And we had some cool props from the different levels that I was able to use, so I could really sell this guy as running for president, trying to make him, as a politician, looking appealing. I'm not sure I did a good job on the 360 storytelling. I could have hidden something in the here behind the podium, and I didn't. That was a missed opportunity, but it looks well from most of the forward-facing angles with the props. Maybe he looks a bit too nervous. Maybe he's holding a secret. Maybe I just didn't quite nail that facial expression. Here we have Kim, one of the leading females in the game. And again, it was also where I was subconsciously thinking of how do I portray this woman of deadly power, femme fatale as they called. I had some first initial poses where I made her sad because she's concerned about the main character. So I had her kind of waiting. Here I had from her house a chair, and the basket really holds nice together. But then when we went into this femme fatale, and I was looking into my subconscious, trying to be creative, just have this powerful female pose. And then after I realized that I probably used from, I think it's a movie called Fatal Attraction. That was very popular when I grew up, so I had unconsciously used it. I like to think that the contrast, of female and then this big powerful weapon works really well, and it helps with the 360 storytelling. Even though, and you can even see it from the front, but I think this one worked out well. One of the enemies that you that you're up against in the game is these extremists, as they're called, with their very weird costume. And they actually don't have a face, they're just a couple of eyes. So I really had to rely on props to sell the unhinged cult member here. So an AK, that's usually good. That's a weapon loved by rebellions and dictators alike, and then a megaphone. So I think I ended up getting a good sense of this guy just being crazy and yelling. And I had to do some extra work to get this cape working, but I think it turned out okay. This one I really like, I'm really proud of it. I think it turned out so great, and it's another one of them. If I could have this 3D printed or turned into a Lego set or something, I would definitely want that. So it's one of the main bad guy, McCall, here standing up in the back of the car with some of his squad, or his soldiers, spaz, the enemies that you shoot. They are also kind of fun in their dialogue. They do weird things, so I was again leaning into that, putting them in the car and then just, riding on the hood, dual Uzi, all kind of craziness. This guy is poking his finger on this with the arrow from the crossbow. This guy is barely holding on because the wheels, the spare tire has fallen off. I like that, and of course McCall in the middle, standing with a revolver, barking orders at the poor driver. I really liked how this turned out. I hope people find it and like it, because it's just a lot of good fun. Look at this crazy car being deformed in all kind of weird, cool way. So this is Janet. You'll meet her in the beginning of the game. She is unique to the game. She's not in the comic. I read all the comic for the game and I enjoyed it. I recommend it. I tried to go for some happiness. If you know Janet, you know that she's not in the game long, in a bit of a tragic way. So I wanted to show her being happy, doing what I guess she likes the beach. She's a lifeguard, and hopefully thinking she's looking over either at some friends that called her or some waves that she's gonna surf. I was trying to get a sense of motion with her walking, so she's kind of in motion. That I think that always works great for these things. So yeah, poor Janet. I hope you get to be happy here. At some point in the game, you go to a mental asylum. I think it's called a hospital of a certain degree, and I get to use the staff here, and I had this really fun setup. The first version, the inmate here, prisoner, was a lot more flirting with the nurse. I think her name is Karen. But it was always this of him being treated by, I think it's Dr. McCall. So now he's looking a bit more nervous about the whole procedure. And I remember Karen was laughing a bit more of him. Now she's a bit more, can I capture that face? Bit more sympathetic looking. Got Dr. Johansson, he's one of the evil bad guys in the game, so he's here in the background, very classic ominous. And from the other side we can see that he has a scalpel, so he's up to no good. So there's a good amount of 360-degree storytelling, and the different faces get reveals as well. Having moving Karen out and have her facing in. Yeah, this one's not too bad. I like animation, and of course, and one of the things I like about animation is exaggeration. But this one I had to redo a lot of times because I was being too violent. This is some of the prison guards, and I thought I'll pay, let's say, homage or feedback to where you meet these guys, which is actually in a scene where you go in after they've beaten up one of the inmates. It's quite brutal. So I thought I'll recreate sort of that energy from that moment. And I had like two different poses. The first one, he was the inmate here was already down in like the fetus position, and they kicked him. I was told I was being too violent. So I was like, okay. So then I had him on his knees with his hands on the back, being held by the one guard with the other raising the baton, and I was told again that is too violent. So, okay. So this one's a bit more implied violence. I think this facial expression sells it good, the sadness and if you can get these angry evil looks from the prison guards. And of course again, props, giving them a baton and a pair of handcuffs. That's good. I think this worked well. I think it has the evil ominous energy that I was hoping for. Another group of enemies that you'll meet is the agents, or sort of bodyguard. And since we had 4, I got another opportunity to make like a group photo for 360s. I started with this guy trying to pay homage to a classic Pierce Brosnan James Bond. Because, you know, I was thinking James Bond, Hitman, all these kind of things with bodyguards, you know, these people in suits. So classic James Bond pose. I had one here yelling into a microphone that I put into his sleeve. She doesn't come with that. That's something I had to put. Guy with his sniper rifle looking all menacing. And this girl here, this is a female agent, doing some cowboy hitman double pistol, John Woo. The facial expression to match. Yeah, that's not too bad. One of the main bad guys you also meet is Winslow, and he owns a bank called Winslow Bank, very appropriate. So here I got to again lean into the exaggeration that I think is fun, so I wanted to show him as being really greedy, Winslow here in the green suit, so he's stomping on the money that this poor guy is trying to pick up, stolen his money, and he's just happy. He's talking on the phone when you meet him, so that's what I tried to call back to getting this phone. He's calling and saying, can't even remember, a bunch of piss ads. He's yelling, he's angry at his staff. So really exaggerated with the amount of money and how Winslow is really careless about it. I think it works. So next up is a group of Marines or Navy personnel on a submarine that you go to. And what's really cool about this, you can see it's another 360 group photo, if we could call it that, is that it has people of different jobs or different area of responsibility. First we have Admiral Edelbright, so making him look all proud and standing somewhat in attention or at ease, being all military. And then we have this scuba diver trying to figure out his harpoon gun, how it's working. I think that's pretty funny. And we just have a guy mopping the floor. If you ever had any work on a Navy vessel, you know there's a lot of cleaning, so he's just whistling, mopping the floor. Again, props can really help. So here I have a broken panel for the mechanic or technician, so he has his tools and he's trying to fix that. He's not happy about it. It's probably not the first time that it's broken. I think it worked really well. And the last one is also one of the main bad guys, Stanwell, General Stanwell, I think. And he has some GIs. So again, since he is a mini villain, you get to go overboard. I think I had one version where he actually has his legs on the back of this guy doing push-ups, being really pushing it in, while this other guy is getting torn to bits. But I toned it down a bit. Subtlety is the name of the game. So he's just stepping on his hand while reprimanding this guy for anything really. So yeah, that's the character dioramas that I had to make. I hope if you played the game and you found them that you liked them. I think some of them turned out really well, and I'm proud of all of them. I think they're good. Hope I achieved what I wanted. And yeah, thank you for watching my video.